important to point out his from his presentation the zoning work and all of the strategies that have been implemented in said city. We're going to discuss that a little more later. And now we have the mayor of Santa Fe, Argentina. Good morning. Emilio has asked us to cooperate with 5 of our minutes to the debate, and I'm going to try to do that, be 5 minutes short, so that I can donate 5 minutes to the public, to the debate after this. Santa Fe is the capital of the second state of Argentina. It is an historic city, 440 years old. It has how many thousand inhabitants, and it lies north of Buenos Aires, and it's right by the Rio Paraná, and it's in the middle of the convergence of two rivers. The Paraná River is large, and the Rio Salado also. They have 26,000 hectares that is very much irrigated by rivers, and we're very subject to floods and rain causing disasters. And of course, the most important and complex situation is the combination of both rain and floods. In 1983, the Paraná River actually grew, and it broke bridges and routes, and which lasted a year. In 2003, the Rio Salado, because of an unfinished work, created some problem, and we had to evacuate people, some 24. And then, of course, the authorities suffered a loss of confidence by the public in this process of reconstruction. And so in 2007, again, because of rainfall, the same problem was repeated from the 4 years before. 30,000 people vacated, and there were no pumping stations, there were no infrastructure. That's why in March of 2008, the Santa Fe city started a development plan which has in mind to develop as a state policy the holistic management of risks and also with urban planning. This was corrected and revised in 2012 and again redrafted, saying that Santa Fe is a city with future, with an urban planned urban growth and respectful of the environment, and so with opportunity for all. And I underscore this because we're convinced that sustainable development with a focus on risk reduction is basically a policy of equity, because when we have disasters, the ones that suffer the most are the ones who have the least and who are the weakest. And in that list of 2003, all those 2,000 and more dead people, they're all poor. There were even babies amongst that crowd, and we included ourselves in the campaign of developing resilient cities, which was later Santa Fe. It was recognized as a model exemplary city, and this was within the framework of action of the Hyogo. And this is a campaign that urges us and encourages us to continue forging ahead with more things to do. We continue the methodology of resilient cities that has 10 important aspects, and I highlight that resilience is an integral focus. It's not just one of these, but a joint effort in all of these, involving all of these areas. First of all, the one relates to organization and coordination of the local government and participation in that. To that effect, we established a municipal system for risk management, Red Cross, Caritas, and amongst others. And the second aspect refers to the budget allocation for risk reduction. And we prefer not to have a specific allocation, but to assign all of the line items in the budget to have it on this, focus on this. And we have current information on threats and vulnerabilities, both scientific information as well as information that is available to the population through different media, and amongst those are the educational materials. And in terms of works and maintenance of structures, we need to to just build the works, but that's not it. That's not the greatest expense. In our case, it's maintenance of those sewages system that require a lot more resources, and it's not so building it is not even the most important thing. We have had works, of course, in the whole city. The fifth aspect involves safety and security in schools and health centers, which includes protocols and contingency plans. Number 6, if I were to choose one of the 10, I would stick to this one, which means how you plan the city, what will be the city's growth, in what direction, and the rules for building, the codes, the building codes, the use of the soil, and an urban plan that establishes a growth towards the north and cancellation of expansion towards the west, which is the most vulnerable area, and widening the minimum size of the lots on the coast, and a new regulation for constructions that includes, in addition to the closing of the urban limit zone, a series of devices. One of those is the obligation of having a green belt alongside the sidewalks, and some other elements that are very important. As you know, the natural soil absorbs most of the the rainfall, and then the rest of the water can go and flow through the channels and sewage system. And so we invert the situation, so 95% goes through the lowlands, and then so we devised a device that the constructions need to incorporate. Then protecting natural ecosystems, there's a project for the French Fund for the Environment, which is we are to recover a reservoir, which we want it to be a natural reserve, and of course working with the community, which in addition to the early warning systems has to do with the reconstruction depending on and according to the needs. And we have 3 urban integral plans that have that include actions by the municipality and the province in the Northeast, relocation of families that were settled on vulnerable areas, and reconstruction of this kind of coastline to which I was referring earlier, in order to limit the urban growth and give these families an opportunity, because as I was saying before, vulnerability coincides with safety, security, lack of opportunity issues, and lack of education and hygiene. So the municipal early childhood schools and preschools with the best architecture is one of the baby projects here for us now, and to take care of the children, and so that the women can actually also go on with their lives, and they will have a place to leave their kids. So what is the impact of all of this? Just a few figures here for you. The sector B is the vulnerable sector, as you can see on the screen, and you can see the darker colors on the screen coincide with the most vulnerable areas, and the lighter ones with the least vulnerable areas, and therefore the other area, which is the east side of the city, is the least vulnerable city, part of the city. In 2001, population had growth 35% in the vulnerable area, and this was basically they're stuck in the non-vulnerable areas. And then in the last few years, this census against census information in the non-vulnerable area has increased 9%. Population has increased, and then the vulnerable areas has diminished in human settlements. In 2013, we had in 8 hours a rainfall of 180 millimeters and no victims. First 240 millimeters in the first 2 hours. There were no victims. 22 families were evacuated, and in 24 hours, they went back to their homes. That's what we understand as resilience. In 2014, we had a very high growth of the river Salado. 15 families were evacuated, and 9 of them are now being definitively relocated within the area that is being defended and protected, but the city had no other major problems. And we can understand that the Pacific Ocean water's temperatures have risen, and we are getting ready for a very difficult time, because the Paraná River is going to grow. We're already in the know. And so, but we understand that we will be able to benefit from this beautiful blessing of having so much fresh water through our rivers in our region. And as a poem was saying, our soil doesn't have any highs, ups and downs, but we do have wonderful water. Thank you very much.